Banana slam jam.
So yeah, you have a safe lane Terrorblade. These are the type of games I flame with TA, but we're obviously gonna watch it with an open mind, and we'll talk about things you could have done worse, better, etc.
Yeah, my thought here. So the thing of this game was that like I had like Grimstroke Invoker mid, and I would like keep getting them like really low and almost killing them, and then I would die to like 3+ hero gank, and I just felt like if I had like one hero with me, that they'd all be dying, and so I think I overactively played as a TA, which is like the reverse of a lot of the meta heroes right now, right? Where your Spirit Brothers and such.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like we just kill these guys if you have +1, and then I kept dying. And the reason for the pick was I knew with the TB, but I saw the Invoker pick already, and Invoker Grimstroke. It was the Underworld last pick, and having the Lich Tiny, I felt like we had ample like tower defense for me to be able to pick this hero, win my lane, and then still have like this strong duo core. That was my thought process.
Okay. I was listening. I'm just I'm watching.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. Yeah, this is a favorite matchup for you, so it's like
Yeah.
we are expecting it to go well.
And the Tiny ganks a lot, which is really nice. Same thing as last game.
Yeah, the Tiny's not ganking. I'm more concerned about why he picked Tiny. Definitely should. You know what? No, I'm fine if you want to not hit.
I wasn't sure which one was better.
That's pretty close. Up to you. I'd say both ways are arguable, but it's specific to every hero, and I'm not gonna act like I've played as much TA. So that just as long as you knew that was a conscious decision.
Yeah, it was.
Okay. Okay. So this is the recipe for a good TA game. Let's see.
I have a question actually.
Go ahead.
So I learned about this concept from like the safe lane where it's like, as of one, when do you decide to like stagnate the lane and deny creeps in the offlaner versus amping your game?
Yeah.
And here I know that I could like way out farm this Invoker if I just like focus creeps. But I kind of do this thing where when he was here, I stagnate, and then when he went to gank, I would push. And I was wondering if you had any insight, at least from like this mid lane perspective, if that is like a better play than just like super amping.
Yeah. So. Oh, 1 second. Just had to get a good stretch there. Okay. So. Yeah. I think your mindset was fine because if you static the lane and Invoker stays, it's like, what is it gonna do? Hit jungle for 70 damage a hit? Like,
Yeah, that was my idea.
What is exactly he gonna accomplish? It's like, yeah, you're maybe getting only a creep wave instead of a creep wave in a small camp or whatever, but Invoker is getting literally nothing. So that is way better in my opinion than pushing the lane into his tower and getting 2 extra camps and letting him sit underneath his tower, right? Like that's
what I thought too.
I don't think that's good. People, I'm glad you at least have that awareness because in NA that's not common. So I think yeah, you are 100. The mode you are in is pretty much how I would describe it exactly, where you are punishing his ganks by killing his tower, and you're punishing him by not ganking by just out farming him when he is here. And that's not by out farming him as much as you can farm, it's by shutting him down as much as possible. Because Invoker past the landing stage, does he farm as Quaswex?
No.
Like, he doesn't farm, right? So
No.
this farm time for him is really important. And like he's just gonna never have any fucking items if you don't give him any time to farm right now, right? So it's like you'll eventually get your farm. So that's like why your decision is correct. It's like you'll eventually get your farm. Your hero hits creeps very naturally. Eventually, even if you're slowed down a bit, if he's slowed down a bit too, it's actually going to slow him down a shit ton, right? Because his hero just doesn't hit creeps anymore. So yeah, I think your approach there is fine. So far from what I've seen, your what you've been doing is fine. You're playing aggressively around the Tiny. This is the kind of situation where, can you imagine to me why things might change now, 9 minutes into the game, as opposed to what you were doing like 7 minutes into the game.
Just in general, probably more levels than heroes. If Chrono and Void, he can TP Chrono.
Yeah, that's like if you're right here being aggressive the way you are, this is what should happen with your player perspective. Like you're hitting creeps like this, right? Because you're not afraid of Invoker, right?
No.
That's what your perspective should have done.
Right. Okay.
Okay, like I know you kind of die without the Chrono, but like that's even worse.
Yeah, applies.
Like if you're making this move and dying without the Chrono, like that move is garbage, right? So it's like, okay, how do I word this here? First and foremost, like when you're being aggressive, okay, okay, this is the beauty of Dota. So when I feel strong, so you're a TA, you're strong. Like if I'm a carry, I'm strong. Like say I won the lane, say I'm a carry, the offlaner's level 5, I'm level 7, similar to the situation you're in now. Sometimes super early in the game, I can just play up in his face, take his tower, like pressure his tower a lot, and do whatever the fuck I want, really, right? So like, notice how when you asked me about like, here's my approach, what's the general synopsis there? You were allowed to do whatever the fuck you wanted, right?
Right.
So if that's the case, first and foremost, we have to understand, make a decision what we're gonna do with that power. What are we gonna do with the choice to do whatever the fuck we want? Any idea after we've made that decision what to think about next? Like what's relevant to you? Like how when you're playing the game of Dota, you're clicking some buttons, what could be going through your mind? You're doing whatever the fuck you want.
What will inevitably stop me from doing that, and if I need any items to continue doing that?
Yeah, absolutely, man. What is gonna make me not do whatever the fuck I want in this game? And for me, I'm looking at their lineup, and it's like, the only way I die is overextending or Chrono. Like, that's the only way I die. The only way I die. There's no other way you're going to die when you're 2 levels ahead of Invoker, right? So I think to myself, I do whatever the fuck I want. Okay, when can I not do that? And that's 100% the Void 6. Like, I think that's pretty clear to you if you look back now. And so this is the kind of stuff where I don't see people clicking the map enough. I don't see them clicking heroes. I don't click the map, honestly, all that much, like, when it comes to, like, checking out heroes. But there's, like, very crucial things. Like, if you check the map one time and looked at this guy's level, that tells me so much about you. Like, that's like, oh, that's so relevant. Like, that was a very crucial information gathering that he just did there. It's like, say this guy's 6, but you look down here and he has no mangoes and he's at 100 mana. It's like, he might as well not be 6. But then next time he shows on the map, you're gonna keep checking his mana. Like you're gonna keep saying, did he get a mango delivered? Like that kind of shit. Like that's the kind of stuff where you're constantly monitoring. It's like if he's 6 and you see that he has mana, at that point you don't really have to check his inventory anymore. You can just keep checking where he is on the map. Like what he's doing. But if I see that he can't chrono me because he has no mana, I'm gonna keep checking if he's given himself mana as often as I possibly can. So you have the part right about doing whatever the fuck you wanted, and you did the right thing with whatever the fuck you wanted. It now comes down to and when it's reversed, right? If you're the guy that's being dictated in your movements, how and when can I punish the opponent for doing whatever they want? Like that's what do I think the opponent's gonna do? Like based on how strong they are. Like if I'm an offlaner, I'll be like, okay, the carry's probably gonna go to this camp, then that camp. Then here, and when can I punish him? Do I need a level? Do I need an item? Can I just not punish him? Do I need a spread?
An ally?
Yeah, do I need an ally? Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I like to think that way. Like, and until that moment, I just accept the way the game's playing. Right? Like, for you should be content playing aggressively the way you have been and playing it, in the game plan you've committed to, until those conditions are met. Like, that's the problem here. Is there's no until. You just kept doing it. I would argue your Tiny should pretty much always walk in here first. And now when the Chronosphere is online, that it's much more about forcing reactions at this point, poking and prodding them, than it is about actually killing them. Yeah, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to dictate movement without dying. So what you were doing before was dictating movement with the intent to kill, because there was no backfire possibility. Like, worst case scenario, you were walking away, right? Maybe you missed some creeps. Right. But in this case, the worst case scenario is you force reactions and their heroes are capable of killing you. So That's not okay. Yeah, that's just the big difference there. So,
Okay.
I like what you were going for, but it tells me so much about that failing that is missing in your like knowledge or
Repertoire.
Yeah, exactly. It does say a lot. So I want the intent to still be there for you, but then to rework exactly how you go about establishing that intent. So okay, let's see here. You are going to go Blink Dagger. I'm fine with that. Surprised you didn't go Value Blightstone, but I don't know enough about TA to critique it. So
I don't. I actually am struggle with pinpointing when I get that in the lane or just rush the blink. I figure with blink, I like really don't die to a lot of stuff, so getting it ASAP is nice.
I see. So just to make sure you know, like the way I look at Dota, like I'm not telling you you're right or wrong there in that specific instance, but the way I look at Dota is like, what's more important to me, getting that blink 30 seconds earlier or like being that much more impactful before I get the blink? So because you're like a mid-space creator, rather than going for that huge power spike, I would argue it's probably your job to be as powerful as possible while you're doing your job. Like, just keep that in mind. I'm not, at the end of the day, it's still your choice to make, but...
No, I got what you mean.
Yeah. You didn't mention that in your consideration, so... Okay.
Like here, I was like, they're just both so low, and I was like really frustrated, so I felt very powerful.
So, in this instance, I told you how your items, like, shouldn't dictate how you play, but, like, in this case, it's pretty obvious that you said, I'm unkillable or whatever when I get this Blink Dagger. So, delaying your Blink Dagger at the expense of potentially getting a kill is just so fucking useless, right? Like, it's just such a hindrance. It's such a huge deal that you would die here. It's an example where it does dictate your action because if you wait 30 seconds, the odds of it being better are just astronomical. It's just way better. So this is an example where why not just wait 30 seconds to make this play? Yeah, like
or get the kill with the Blightstone, because I would probably actually would
have that too. Either way, that can help decide too. But the thing about that MKB thing was that the MKB didn't really change the way you played the map. Like, it didn't make you more... Like, it didn't make the place you can be better, like, different. It just meant that if you found somebody, you'd kill them better, right? With the Blink Dagger, it actually changes where you can be on the map, right? So, with those type of items, I'll usually play a tad greedier prior to the item. When I say greedy, it's like I'm still going to clear as much as I think I can prior to it, but I'm not going to do anything nutty before I get that item. So, big deal there. It's kind of like today or yesterday, I don't know. I guess for you, it's kind of today. When 5 men threw that game because they tried to make a move 500 gold before the Void's BKB when he had Aegis. It was like, why don't you guys just make that move when your Void has a BKB? The game's 23 minutes in and you just went 500 gold before the guy is unkillable. Like, the guy's literally unkillable if he has a BKB against... Darkseer Disruptor, and instead you just go. It's like, what? So that kind of mistake applies in Pro Dota, right? Like, it happens. I've made that mistake myself.
So to tie the idea together real quick.
Yeah.
So, like, you said, remember when I died mid, and I was like, I wanted my MKB timing, and you said, don't really dictate your MKB timing based off, like, don't dictate your movements based off your MKB timing.
Yes.
So the difference there when you do wait for, like, the BKB to blink is when it can fundamentally change how you do play the game.
Yes, because because you're stronger with the MKB, it's a big power spike, but it really doesn't change anything about your map movements, right?
Gotcha.
But when it comes to map movements, like, if we were talking about your farming patterns on Wind Ranger, if you get MKB, what changes?
I kill the creep faster.
The pattern does not change. But if you're TA, suddenly from going from here to here to here and shit, suddenly your farming pattern might be like here,
insanely faster,
or like here, like in a place that you previously couldn't farm. So that's a timing that can be much more impactful to play for, and then you can alter your map play a bit to make sure you hit that one, because that timing will make a huge difference. I know on TA, specifically, if you die like 2 or 3 times like this, the game's like really hard for you to ever do anything.
And it gets real bad real fast after.
Yeah, because the first death almost always leads to more, and then they had, like, by the time you have Deso, they have, like, Yule Scepters and shit. But, okay, so we turn it into more. You are fighting a lot, which, like, I can respect that you're trying to take a hero like TA and turn it into a fighter. I guess your idea behind the pick was like, hey, I want to just dominate the lane, but then I'll play more like a mid laner afterwards.
And the blink first to reflect
yeah, I see it. I want to be open-minded, okay, about Dota in general. Like, I want to be open-minded. I've established my opinion on TA, and I'm trying to make sure I don't limit myself too much by previous, you know, I don't want to say
biases.
Biases. Yeah, previous biases about what I've seen, but I don't see TA win. it's like, okay, what happened?
Man.
I know. Like for me, it's like I'm learning Darkseer or some shit, right? And I've never played the hero, and I know I'm not playing optimally, and I'm like, damn, this hero fucking owns. Like I was like, holy shit, like I know I'm not playing optimally, and there's so many things I could do better, and I'm just owning, and I'm like, holy shit, this hero, this shit's broken. I played against Gunner mid Doom at the start of the patch, right? And I played against him doing it once. And I counter-picked it in lane. I know a lot about Doom and shit. I beat him in lane. And then 12 minutes in, he has Phase Drum Midas, and he's out-leveling me. Even though I beat him in lane and shut him down, like, super early. And I'm like...
So annoying.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this guy has Phase Drum Midas, and I won the... Like, he was, like, a level and a half behind me? What did I miss here? And to me, I was like, okay, I'm going to try that shit, The thing about like a hero being good or bad in a patch is just like how often does it work and how easy does it feel to just play the hero the way it wants to be played. Like, TA, you don't want to play like this, right? Like,
no, you don't.
You don't. You want to get a Deso and hit creeps for another 4 minutes and then two-shot people. Like, that's what TA wants to do. And it just doesn't work in this meta. It just doesn't work. So I'm just like, that's how my opinions are established. Like, let's just ignore, you're allowed to go about however you proceed through this patch, but like when I have heroes I like and shit, I just give up on it if I feel like, hey, this is the way I like to play this hero and it just doesn't fucking work,
No, I wholeheartedly agree with you.
Yeah,
this is not what the TA normal game is
just like you are doing a good job of adjusting to this. So we've obviously talked about things you can learn from this game, but this is all important. Like conclusion, how I reached this conclusion myself, at least. You don't necessarily have to reach it the same way, but these are the type of perspectives I personally have enjoyed listening to from other players, so that's why I'm giving you mine. It's just like, this is how I feel about heroes in the meta. It's like, how easy is it to just make their kit do its job? So, in this case, I would honestly say to save time, like, this type of TA game, you've fucked yourself, so. Do you want to go to the next one, or do you...
Yeah, we can go to the team stuff now.
There were 3 games here. Are only 2 of them pubs?
It was 2 pubs and 2 of the We Play.
Oh, I see. Okay. Did you want another pub, or do you want me to keep looking at this one?
No, it's good. No. Okay. I see that like little laning phase where I was playing too over aggressive was the main part of that game.
Okay. I do feel like with TA specifically, if you're down by 2K at 16 minutes and you're like 4th on the net worth, your game's like over. So.
No, I agree. I agree.
So it's not always
that like little fighting movements.
Okay, so which one would you prefer out of the team play?
I'll ask it to you because this first one, as I kind of said, I think it was like one of our best played games as a group, and then there was a point where we like had a really great lead and then we just threw it. Like we had like a 95% win rate or something like that, and we threw it. And so I feel like the most value out of that would come out of that time frame.
Okay.
And then the second game was definitely just really hard based off the draft. We can go over drafting stuff too. I love drafting stuff with
yeah, that's fine. So let's quickly, so the first game is the one where you guys threw?
Yes.
Let's just quickly, what moment in the game, or like what time in the game was it? Like approximately?
I'll look real fast. Around the 40, I believe.
Around 40? Yeah, we'll talk about it real quick. It doesn't have to be long spent on this replay. I'm not going to watch the whole thing. I'll just skip to the...
I'll hop on and look for it myself as well.
So you guys are Dire here? Yeah, you are.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
So you're bat, mid-bat. You guys are up by 15k. Oh, it looks like the throw already happened?
Yeah, I think so. It was like a throw, then another one.
Okay, so let's see here.
I'm trying to find it myself.
Let me update myself with what's going on in this game. Roche's
Yeah, it looks about right at like there's like a 29-minute-ish jump in the graph, and then 40 it starts to decline, like right 38, 37, somewhere in there, based off the graphs.
I would say first and foremost, this Radiance is like really bad. That's ignoring that part. MKB, is that a support Wind Ranger?
Yes, +4.
Okay, I've seen the App Store do it, so it must mean it's okay.
We have like 3 win players, so
I'm just saying, like, I see a BKB MKB, so that's why I mean, that's what I meant by I see App Store do it. So going MKB BKB must be fine. Okay, so
oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, when I look at these items, you don't think support. Okay, so we have a Warlock. Sven has these items. Okay.
I think I'm close to the moment where.
Okay, so I'm at 37 minutes right now. So let's just.
Yeah, I haven't found it yet. I'm at 36. So
I saw you guys dying at like 39 and a half.
Yeah, that's what the graphs show. I think this is it. At least this was like really slowed down our aggression and allowed the Sven to. Yeah, the Spectre dying here was big. Oh yeah, it's here. They go high ground here, and then we make a call for a buyback because we thought we had the Sven kill, and then it turns out we didn't have the Sven kill. You'll see it come up in a second. And then they have their win condition based off that. So.
Okay. I'll just talk about things that are relevant to me when I think about these decisions. It's like, it's kind of hard for me to critique this in a unbiased way because I know what happened, right?
Right.
But here's how I make these decisions. So I first and foremost understand that if Spectre buys back, the enemy team has a win condition, like, period. Like, there's a very obvious set of events that they win this game. They kill the Spectre one more time, game over. So
yeah,
that buyback is like fucking massive because first off, like, you are ahead, but in game maybe you don't know that exactly. But you have Spectre against Sven, so you scale way better than they do. So when I'm in this mindset of like we scale better than they do, like if you were the Sven lineup, right, and you lassoed the Spectre, I'd be like, buy back on Sven, fucking kill this guy, like. This is how we win the game. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't have buyback yet, but, like, we need to kill this fucking Spectre and get Roche, right? When you have the Spectre lineup, it's like, let's just not fucking lose the game before our Spectre's alive and then go play the game out. Like, do you see what the difference there is? So, it's like, it's not necessarily that I'm saying this should have worked or not, but why are we even trying? Like, based on the matchups of the lineups that we have here, like, are you telling me if this game goes to 60, you think you lose with Warlock Spectre? Like, you ain't losing this game, right? Like, if it goes to 60 minutes and you don't have if they don't have megas, I'm saying, like, you didn't give them megas. So, like, you need to be in mode of, like, are we just defending what's ours, or are we trying to make the play of the game here? Like, what's the what mindset are we in? You played in a way that said, fuck, man, we gotta win this fucking fight. We can't kill this fucking Sven. And I'm just like, hey, man, if this game goes another 10 minutes, you just fucking win. Like, why? Yeah, that's how I look at this. Just why? It's not for any other reason than, like, when it comes to super late game plays, but it applies in all stages of the game of Dota, it's just, like, calculated, right? Like, I talked to you about your aggression at 11 minutes on Wind Ranger and the possible benefits and negatives of doing that. It's the same shit at 40 minutes. It's just a little more convoluted and complicated. It's like, give them a win condition. If it fails, they have a win condition. And if it works, like, wouldn't it be just the same if we just won a fight in 10 minutes from now? Like, wouldn't that be the same, but we don't give them a win condition? Dota's patience, man. Like, a lot of the reason why these, like, tier 3 teams take longer to close out these games is because they're not willing to make the, like, super crazy plays to end the game, but there is some merit to that, okay? Like, there is some merit to just waiting until the game's guaranteed to be a win. You know? Like, you are going to scale better. You're up by 15K, but even ignoring that, if you were on even footing, I would feel comfortable with your lineup moving forward. So, yeah, that's how I see this decision. And now moving forward from here,
It gets real awkward.
your Spectre, you guys are now in, probably give them Roche, wait for 8 minutes until Spectre has buyback again. Like, that's where you guys are at. Your Spectre farming the way she is right now scares me. Your Spectre should not be alone. You can play alone as long as you have buyback.
I do, I think.
I'm just saying, like, you have buyback, so you can play alone. Let's see what happens here. Do you remember what I said your mindset should be after Spectre buyback?
The chill for 8 minutes after the Roche.
Yeah, like, they're getting, like, okay, so whenever I make a mistake in a game, I'm just being like, okay, so, like, remember when you died as Wind Ranger at 12 minutes? It's like, I always immediately think to myself, like, what are we going to lose off this? Right, like, what is my death going to cause in this game? And, you know, what is my response? What is my necessary response? It's like, okay, I still need to get that bottom tower at 12 minutes, but I guess we're going to lose our mid tower because I died here, you know? Like that.
I remember, yeah.
But it's like, you know, at that point, I have to choose, do I still want that tower, or am I just going to start defending my mid tower? You know what I mean? Like, is that now worth it to me? Like, I was going to get that tower for free, but now I would have to give up my mid tower. I guess I'm just not going to go get that tower. I'm going to defend my mid tower. So that's like my response to my own death, right? Like, I have to accept that I gave something up because I died. So I try to teach, like, mindsets that apply at 12 minutes and 40, because the decision at 40 is way more complicated than the one at 12. So in this case, you know, we're talking about late game win conditions, right? Like, we're talking about what has to happen where this team wins. How many fights do they have to win? You know, whenever you're ahead in the definition of how the opponent wins the game is they kill one of your heroes and they win, it's like, that's not good. Like, you know, that's not where we want to put ourselves. So that first and foremost should impact your Spectre's decision to buy back, as well as your team fighting around that buyback, or, like, you know, expecting her to buy back. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, if this carry was a more confident player, like, I'm saying, like, this is like a 9-10K carry player, he'd literally say, I'm not buying back, guys, good luck. Like, it doesn't fucking matter what happens. You guys could literally run into their base dying, and he could have a guaranteed rampage, and that guy's not going to buy back. Like, it's just not going to happen, because he knows I'm up by 10, 15K, or, you know, somewhere in there, and if I just respawn and play the game normally, we're going to win the game. You know, it's like, how are they ever going to win fights if I'm standing in front as a Spectre with a massive lead, they kill me, best case scenario for them, and I buy back and kill all of them at that fight, you know? Like, they can't win a fight if I'm buying back after dying in that fight. You know, like, they can't kill me twice. So, by giving them a way to kill me once, that's like, you know, I'm just flaming your Spectre. But at the highest level, it does to some extent require everyone on the team to understand what his buyback means to all of you, right? All of you, because he has no buyback, he's gonna play way more scared. Like, he has to in on the map and in fights. And so naturally, him not having buyback is actually going to get random people killed and shit. Like, whether it's in the fight or whether or not it's just farming. Like, he's going to have to play more passively. And thus, if he has buyback and there's a chance where he mans up against the Sven and he likely kills the Sven, but there's a 20% chance he dies, he's probably not going to go for it. Do you know what I mean? Right? So it's like, okay. So now fights are just way harder for us. But with that in mind, I said, you know, he died, he bought back, you guys took a fight, it failed. Just accept the losses, man. They're going to get roached. They have map control. You get to sit in your base for 8 fucking minutes. Like, that's what you guys get to do, you know? You dug
Are you
your...
saying the smoke and attempt to fight is the part where we had to accept that, like, we're just not going to
Yeah, like, that smoke to fight to me is insane. Like,
Okay.
Whoa. Like, this, if you were the Sven lineup, that smoke is the right play, right? Because you have to, like, this game ain't getting any better, right? Like, if you wait for the Sven buyback, who gives a shit? Like, first off, Sven's not a very good buyback hero, but secondly, like, if he has to buy back in the game, you're just going to lose. Do you know what I mean? Because Sven, like, he's going to get outscaled. Like, you know, the hero at this point, like, going to get out carried. Like, you're going to lose. But if you're, so, like, I'm saying if the Sven lineup was up by 7K and there was an opportunity to kill the Spectre in their own base, I would still buy back and go for that shit. And if we then bought back and failed, that's when you see the teams immediately smoke out of their base. Right? Because they're like, okay, well, we got to get something done right this fucking moment. Otherwise, we're going to lose this game. But, like, I guarantee you, when you see teams that scale better and they know they do that, they don't do this kind of shit. Like, they just, like, accept the loss and they'll be like, okay, I guess this game's going another 12 minutes, but we'll win it then. You know, it's like, that's how they think about it. So it comes down to this, like, super late game decision making of, like, you know, how long does this game go that we're happy with? Obviously, we're not trying to take it any longer than we have to, but we don't want to put ourselves on a timer when we're not the lineup that is on a timer. Like, if you look at your heroes, you're not on a timer to win this game. Like, you should win no matter how long it goes, as long as the game is, when I say played normally, I just mean no crazy aggressive plays
like
or
weird fights.
Yeah, weird fights, you know, fighting with no buyback on your carry, that kind of stuff. And yeah, so these are the decisions that they're hard to make. So I don't want this to specific, like, for anyone watching as well as you, like, I don't want, I hope, I know, I trust you at this point, but I hope that you're not looking at this with a specific example, right? It's like, I want this to be a general concept of, play the game out in your head. You know, when does, like, I was playing an EU game, actually. This was hilarious. And I was Terrorblade against Spectre, Warlock, Mag, and a Tiny. And my team wanted me to walk high ground without an Aegis. And I was like, they were like pinging me. And I was like, guys, you know, I don't know exactly when I want this game to end, because we were ahead by like 10, 15K. I'm like, I don't know exactly. It was like a similar scenario. I'm like, I don't know exactly when I want this game to end. And I'm not necessarily saying we scale better than them. But guys, let's play this out in our head here. If I walk to the high ground, I'm going to fucking get, you know, blink RP skewered with no save and die. Like, come on. Like, come on, guys. Like, there's nothing I can do to walk into this lineup, okay? So it's like, for me, it's like I played out that scenario, and what I ended up doing was farming like 2 more items, and because the enemy team was just sitting in base, and I ended up barely manning up and killing the Spectre at one point, and I was like, wow, I won the game because I realized my heroes weren't capable of doing something, and I just waited for the opportunity that it would be better. Like, I just waited for enough items or a buyback timer in your case here, but like, if there's a better moment in the game to make that smoke play, then just wait for it. If that better play is dictated by a buyback cooldown, then fuck, you're gonna have to wait 6 minutes, you know? Like, that's what you did. So that's what I mean. Does that approach make sense to you?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and check out the other game, which you wanted to talk about drafting. So you wanted to look at the draft real quick, or what?
You could do either way. The draft, I think we were pretty aware that we kind of just gave them like Mag Phoenix Void, I think, which was just pretty dog. Like, we just but the game still felt winnable at some point, so maybe the gameplay might be a bit better. Like, there's more early game stuff in this one to talk about, whereas here is just the 40-minute.
Yeah, we'll spend about 10-15 minutes on this game real quick.
Sure thing.